Hey everybody, welcome back to the Addictive Wellness channel. I'm Sage and we have a special guest with us here today. This is Mason Taylor, coming all the way from Australia. His company, Superfeast, based in Australia, is an absolute legendary company sourcing some of the most incredible Chinese herbs. And we are really happy to have him here with us today.
Yeah, it's been awesome to come here, LA, and kind of like experience it's big smoke for us. We're from Byron Bay, I grew up in Sydney, but it's just like nothing compared to this beautiful city, It's this hub of tonic herbalism, Now to go to Dragon Herbs and Air Wine, like in these tonic bars and experience, and then come here and nerd out on herbs with you. It's been a lot of fun.
Hey, we do have a legendary area here in LA. It's really one of, if not the epicenters of the health movement. So it's always fun to have people come and experience, and we can share so many things and hear what you've been up to. And so today, guys, we are going to be talking about travel, because Mason's obviously been traveling a fair bit lately, and we're going to talk about our favorite ways to prepare ourselves for travel and what we do throughout travel to ensure that we continue to experience radiant, vibrant, untouchable health throughout our gallivanting around the globe.
Yeah, I like to use that word.
Gallivanting.
Yeah, that's exactly what we do as well. Yeah, I think I was just posted that on Instagram today that we were gallivanting around here in LA. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a good conversation. I mean, we've got a little bubba with us, Aya, 9 months old. Me and Tani traveling around, just gallivanting, sprinkling magic mushroom dust all over everyone here in LA. And
to clarify for the FDA watching this, we're talking about medicinal mushrooms.
Yeah, they are magic. They are not psychedelic. They are magic in their own way that they, just make that the immune system blossom, but they're completely legal, so just chill out, everyone, and let's just enjoy the magic of mushrooms, medicinal stars, chagas, lion's manes, reishis, and that kind of thing. But yeah, we've had to do a lot of work to prepare for travel, especially with a little bubba. So it's been, we've put a little bit more effort into getting ready for our travel. So it's going to be awesome to come here and chat with everyone today about what we've been doing to make sure that we, keep that travel healthy.
Yeah. So let's jump right into it. Where do you guys start when you think, okay, I have travel maybe coming up in 2 weeks? What's the first thing that comes to your mind as far as what you're going to be doing to prepare?
Yeah, I mean, going big picture. First of all, I make sure that my lifestyle is super healthy. First thing I want to be doing is I want to make sure that when I'm traveling, it's not like this huge release of the pressure gauge. You know what I mean? Like that kind of oh my gosh, I get out of my routine and I can finally have some downtime to myself. You don't want to be in a position where your body just completely goes, oh my gosh, this is the opportunity to go and release all this sickness. It happens to a lot of people. They go on holidays and go to a beach and they get into that parasympathetic nervous system for the first time, and then all of a sudden they start getting sick, and then all the emotional stuff starts coming up. They can't really enjoy their holidays. So first thing, having a lifestyle that's really super healthy to begin with. And so that's and this does lead into preparing for air travel and ensuring that your body and your nervous system is adaptable when you do travel. So all of this is tied in, guys, and it's not just generic, stay healthy and eat organic. This makes a massive difference when you're changing time zones. I've gone from spring to autumn or fall for you guys. That's a huge recalibration.
It's kind of a shock to the body. Yeah.
Massive shock to the body.
You're saying you don't want to be pushing yourself to the limit, challenging yourself, and burning the candle at both ends leading up. Right?
Exactly, because then what I'm having to do then is when I get on holidays, I'm dealing with overcoming that burnout.
You're just in recovery the whole time, right?
Exactly. Now, because we've traveled when we've been nice and healthy, now that we get here, all our body has had to put its energy into is kind of transitioning from being in springtime vibes to autumn vibes. So we're kind of making a nice gentle transition from that spring liver organ energy. And for those of you that understand TCM and are getting into that wisdom, cruising over to more of, a lung kind of period, a lung organ time. And we've been able to really experience that because we've been nice and adaptable. So we've been on the organic foods. We've also been preparing our bodies and getting it adaptable to, in being able to handle the stress response that comes about from traveling. So we incorporate tonic herbs into our life heavily, so medicinal mushrooms, and especially leading up to a trip like this, we're getting on a lot of Jing herbs, kidney herbs, so that we've got that foundational strength and power and stamina in our body to keep on going, and the ability to adapt to any stress hormonal fluctuations in the body. So that's a huge one for us. We make sure we're generally always hydrated. We're taking a lot of iodine and saturating our body in iodine before we travel, especially because there's a lot of radiation when you're up there in the plane. Or in general, it's just good to be saturated anyway with iodine. But we do that, and we make sure that we're eating a lot of seasonally appropriate foods, but especially foods that are really high in colors and pigments and antioxidants, just so we've got a lot of protective elements within our body, within our
nature's
diet.
components, which are preparing you for dealing with everything going on that is involved in that season.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then we start leading up to the time when we're going to be going away. So before we had a plan, we had like a 14-hour trip, add in a couple of like little internal flights. It's a pretty big flight, and hydration is so key. Normally what smashes people so much is they get on the other side of the world and they're completely dehydrated. So our life, like for a lot of the time, even though it's so cruisy for us now in second nature, it revolves a lot about keeping our health like right up here on a strong level. So spring water is something that we do. We got spring water that gets delivered to our house. Otherwise, we're going up and collecting it in the Byron Bay hinterland, which is ideal because we're getting on the best water that we can possibly find.
You guys have an amazing area there. That's incredible.
We do. You guys have it amazing here as well. I'll get to how lucky you guys are here in LA and other regions. There's always options in terms of spring water and getting hydrated, but we make sure we got very hydrated. So we packed for that plane. We had, obviously you can't take water internationally, but even when we were traveling down from Gold Coast to Melbourne, internal flight, we took about 4 liters of water with us so we could scull that just before.
So in Australia, they let you take water onto the plane?
Yeah, do they not?
Completely not allowed here.
Okay, funny story though. Yeah. Last time, 2 years ago, when I flew back from LA to Sydney, I forgot that I had a liter of spring water that I'd collected myself, and I intended to drink it just before I got on the flight. Forgot. I was going through customs, and they go, "Excuse me, sir, do you have water in your backpack?" And I said, "Oh my gosh, yes, I do." And he goes, "Don't worry about it. Go on."
Wow.
And so I had like a liter of water.
That was coming into Australia?
That was going out of the States.
Oh.
And so I was able to get on that plane, like I was fully aware of it.
Jedi mind tricks.
I think so. This is not the spring water you're looking for. And but this time, when for one thing we did was we sculled 2 liters of really good spring water. We knocked that back before we got on that plane.
2 liters each?
Yeah.
Wow, you must have had to really go pee when you got on the plane.
I'm pretty good with that. I've been getting up and doing, drinking at least a liter of water for years and years and years now. So I've got a lot of tolerance. My body's kind of...
Yeah, 1 liter, that's decent, but 2 liters, that's serious.
I mean, over a little bit of time.
Okay, yeah.
So it was over about 45 minutes, we got 2 liters down.
That's still solid.
It's solid, but we want to make sure that we've got as much flowing through our body. Taking mega hydrate capsules, or if you can get a hydrogen supplement, I found that's really useful for me.
Yeah.
And this is so I was taking 4 to 6 mega hydrate capsules before I get onto an international flight.
Right, because the hydrogen acts as a selective antioxidant, so it's not going to kick out too many of the good oxidants, things like nitric oxide that are actually beneficial for you. It acts selectively as an antioxidant, which is really amazing stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's sweet, guys. I mean, it's one of those ones you just we've always got it on us when we travel. It makes life a lot easier. So, I mean, the other thing as well, just making sure that you got a lot of high water containing fruits and vegetables. So it's just we had cucumber. We had a whole esky with us, literally an esky.
For Americans, an esky is a cooler.
Oh yeah, okay, cool. And for the Kiwis, a chili bin. Okay, so anyway.
That's one of my favorites.
So that was chili bin in the Kiwi accent. Okay, so we took all our meals, peaches, cucumbers, avocados, all that kind of stuff. If you're traveling with a baby, make sure that you get a bassinet. I mean, it just made life so much easier for us. Just that little bed that we could pop her in and play in, and she could sleep, and we can get some space. The other thing that we were doing on the plane is we were making sure that we take a device that's giving us some kind of protection from the electromagnetic fields that we've been pumped with.
Right.
Our electrical bodies have been pumped with when we're in the plane. So we've got a device over in in Australia that we use called a Tesla Blue Shield. And so I don't know whether you guys have it here. It was a Kiwi guy that kind of brought it to market, using that kind of Tesla coiling intention where it creates a force field or a bubble projection from the device, depending on how big it is, that your mitochondria can attune to, rather than it attuning to the electromagnetic fields of the plane or a mobile tower.
It's like a beneficial form of electromagnetism that our cells respond beneficially to.
And so basically, rather than bringing in a blocker of EMFs, EMFs. This is a force, so like this is a positive in a wavelength that's in resonance with a natural wavelength and with natural electromagnetic fields. And so that's important for us. So having something like that. I mean, having crystals. We had crystals with us, amethyst with us. I think I had like a Mount Shasta obsidian with me. So I'll pick which crystals like I want, and anything. Just throw the whole kitchen sink at it when it comes to bringing devices that are going to be able to block that EMF. It'll make a big difference. So, I mean, in preparing for travel, we were talking about this a bit earlier. I mean, like, if you want to be adaptable when you travel, it's basically, if you want to be an adaptable human, you don't want to be bothering when you arrive somewhere, having to go like, I got to take 2 days out to, recover from being in a cramped seat. You want a body that's nice and spongy,
It's your preparation.
Yeah.
It's not something you don't just decide, I'm going to be adaptable because it sounds cool. Building adaptability, whether through physical practices or through diet or through herbalism, for example, takes time. So you want to make it a lifestyle practice rather than something you just turn on a week before you're going to travel.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it just won't work. Although it's pretty good. If you're putting like a week's
better some than none, but better a lot than some.
But then just keep going. Just keep going, please. And then, like, when you get a couple of years behind you, I mean, like at the moment we're talking about physical practices. I mean, like over the years, like I've taught yoga and done a lot of yoga. I've moved into more of a martial practice myself now. I'm working a lot with my friend Benny Ferguson, movement monk, and the work is very much in unifying my body, bringing a sponginess to my body, really bringing a unification between the different hemispheres, upper and lower, so that I'm getting as much flow and connection between my fascial system and really breathing, opening and closing through my joints. And in the end, it just makes it a little bit easier for me to really exist in my body.
You can just deal with stuff like, it's probably not as much of a shock to your system to have to sit in an airplane seat for a little while and not move.
No, there was a time in my mid-20s when it started to get a little difficult for me because, like I was, even though I was practicing, I wasn't doing it with integrity. And that's how I knew that the way I was approaching yoga, maybe why I wasn't serving myself. And so I've gone on another little adventure. Like I like my partner's a yin yoga teacher. And so I've always had a love for yin yoga and still practice that here and there. But, especially like, Taoist kind of styles of, and Shaolin styles of stretching, connected with breathing practices, as always. I know you're a big fan of the Wim Hof method.
I'm a huge fan of the Wim Hof method. I've been doing it for a few years. It's a combination really of yoga for one, and then really great breath training practices to maximize the oxygen in content of the body, and which in of itself promotes a high level of alkalinity, and then cold exposure. And that is what really builds your adaptability. If you can adapt to an ice bath, you can adapt to an airplane. Basically, it's strengthening your nervous system and building a robust nervous system adaptability to deal with all kinds of different assaults. And in the way that it's doing that, it's actually really building your immune system as well. And don't be afraid of it. You don't start with an ice bath. You start with like 30 seconds cold shower. It's pretty simple and gentle, and it's not about forcing it and really suffering, but about just gently building up.
Yeah, that's how I did it as well. I didn't even know that it was cool back when I started. Like, I've always liked getting in cold, but I was just reading like a Yogi Bhajan text years ago, and he used to do cold water therapy on and single out organs and get that cold water isolated onto, if there was a liver issue, get it isolated on there, and then get that blood running away, and then and get it just basically let that cold in, and then put hot packs on it straight after and flood it with blood, etc., etc. And you can imagine that's what you're doing when you're doing like a cold therapy, or even if you could got a cold and sauna therapy. I mean, I was doing that years ago. I was being a ski instructor in Austria. A little less health intended, might have been on beers in a sauna, but we were still just like we'd jump out there and
you're gonna be drinking beer.
At least do it in the sauna so you're detoxing it straight away. I'm joking. No, it's like different life then. I was 19, but ensconced in the culture was going from that sauna, and we even knew then we'd go and jump out and roll in the snow. And I mean, just that alone, I can just imagine what that did to the foundations of my immune system, getting that swing. And so my tissue was getting wrung out, and, it was just getting squeezed and pulled. And that creates adaptability because it's been used and moved. The same way if you go for a run, you become a little bit more light on your feet, and you can move around a little bit easier after a while. Same with that deep tissue. when you have your practice, and we'll get back to the point at hand here, is becoming adaptable and ensconcing this into your lifestyle so that when you're on the road and you're out on adventures, you know, whether it's a flight, whether it's just going for a hike in a canyon, you've got adaptability. If you've got the foundation of that physical practice in your breath work consistently been in your life, so that you, like that's like for me bridges that mind and body and makes it possible for you to actually feel your body unifying so that you can become adaptable and build strength in a way that's functional and, you know, like responsible for where you want to go in your life, you know. Right. So that if you've got that, you've got your physical practice, a little bit of cold water therapy here and there. It doesn't have to be too, you know, it doesn't have to be like the whole shebang, just a little cold shower in the beginning, and then you can go watch your Facebook videos from like when you're in Hungary, you know, and just like and get inspired.
And then eventually you run the risk of getting to the point where I'm at, where when I travel somewhere, my first thing I'm thinking is, where is the coldest water I can get into there? If I'm going to Canada or I'm going to Maryland next month, I'm going to figure out where is the coldest water I can get into, because that is what I get there and it sinks me into the nature. And for me, I feel the most centered in a place. And when I get into a new place, to feel at home there, I've found in the last couple of years, the fastest way to achieve that result and feel that I'm in my nature in a place. That's a kind of weird way to say it, but that to feel connected to the earth there is to get in cold water there. And it's just, there's nothing like that feeling. But you'll get there. You start with a little bit of a cold shower to really strengthen your nervous system and just see where it goes.
I mean, so then when we're traveling, because we've got a pretty big picture there,
and macro.
But that's like seriously, like it's great to just list out the supplements and be like, this is what we do when we arrive. But
why don't we do that for a minute? What are like your top couple favorite herbs and supplements?
Okay, so when I travel, as I said, Mega Hydrate I always travel with, and I'm taking a couple of those before I get on the flight, a couple during. You know, my intention is to not get dehydrated on that flight. I mean, it's a little bit easier now. They're getting better water, you know, on flights now. I still don't like drinking it. So, you know, my challenge is to make sure I get to the other end with still having clear pee and not being dehydrated. And so I achieve that with a lot of the high water containing fruits. I like taking enzymes with me, you know, just to help. Just
digestive or systemic?
Digestive. Yeah. I like generally just like, you know, the way they make me feel. Yeah. And so that's just a little bit of like, you know, just a bit more of like vitality and sparkliness coming into my body, breaking down. Because when you get into any stressful situation, your fascial system starts to, you know, create little adhesions and get sticky. And I find those enzymes, even though they are digestive, it's like enough of a catalyst, you know, for me to actually, catalyst within my metabolism to ensure that I'm keeping that systemic flow of energy. Yeah. And so I like traveling with them. The Live On vitamin C.
Oh yes, the lipospheric vitamin C.
And that's a favorite of mine. And so I'll always keep that little immune system boost.
How many packets will you do?
Well, I bought another one from Air One today, and so we've already gone through a packet in preparation, a packet while we're here, and we'll probably go through another 2 while we're here. We love it. We're guzzling that vitamin C at the moment. And we've always got the Superfeast medicinal mushrooms with us. But that's more of a lifestyle kind of thing, you know.
With the vitamin C, it's good to know your limits though, because everyone has different limits of vitamin C, and past a certain point, you're going to be spending a lot of time on the toilet in the airplane.
You're just going to be getting rid of it,
which could, but like you don't want to have the runs on an airplane.
It is like it really does get you moving. I mean, on the plane, I mean, we're generally like, you know, we're not taking like 5 necessarily. We're generally good at taking 1 or 2 every single day. We probably just did that on the plane as well. We don't feel like it affects our digestive.
Usually 1 or 2, you're in a pretty safe range.
We always, you know, we've got like, you know, herbal sprays. I like the Myco spray from Paul Stamets brand. I've got some more of that today. Just like a nice herbal spray, maybe with some cinnamon, maybe like some thieves, you know, or something like these from Young Living.
Things are like a bit antibacterial.
Antibacterial. I've got some good friends back in Australia that do Pure Heart mists.
What's that?
Well, it's a botanical mist. Okay. And so then they've got a sage mist, and I find that wonderful just to kind of like get me energetically kind of like nice and sealed when I'm on the plane. And you know, in reality, there are a lot of, you know, there's a lot of pathogens floating around that space. And so I'm onto that. I'm not paranoid about it necessarily. I mean, I could go to the extent where I'm having I've got a face mask on, and I've considered it, and I've you know, it's not right for my mental attitude right now. I just wanted to kind of like chill out.
Be aware, do what you can, and then stop thinking about it.
basically is like, that's where I'm at, and then just ride that wave and see where it is for you to make sure that you can,
figure out what's reasonable for you. AnnaBlanca for example, has an extreme sensitivity to people wearing too much perfume and cologne and things like cigarette smoke. She has a mask that she'll keep in her handbag that she'll put on as soon as she goes out the door. If she gets in the elevator and there's somebody with a crazy amount of perfume. So that's just part of her arsenal and what's reasonable and doable for her. But everybody has that level of what they're comfortable with and what's doable for them.
Yeah, nice. So that's like, I mean, there's a few others. I like having like andrographis, echinacea, kind of like, like garlic, these kinds of herbal blends or tinctures that people are going to be able to bring in. If I feel something coming on, I want them to stimulate the immune system rather than adaptogenic herbs. They're going to be like, helping regulate it. I want to drive it up. I've always got a little bit of that on me as well. So, I mean, a few other things, but I kind of want to talk about what happens when I land.
All right, let's hear it.
And so, like, I was thinking about it, like, it's especially kind of like correlated to a survival situation, when you're traveling. And so like that's how I kind of like make sense of the level of importance that I place different aspects of planning for your travel. And so I'm basically looking to thrive when I'm traveling. When you're surviving first, in your survival situation, first thing, and I'm talking about like if you're in nature and you're lost in the wilderness, that's kind of survival situation I'm talking about here. First thing you want to be like focusing on is your attitude.
But you're saying you can take these same wilderness survival strategies and apply them to non-wilderness travel.
Basically, I mean, just because it breaks it down to like what are the most important aspects for living.
Okay, go for it.
Like, so I mean, like we won't go through the full list because it's a little bit extreme, but like basically, first one, attitude. And so we want to be considering what's the attitude that we have towards our travel, towards the life. And especially when we're traveling, like it's what your intention is. Yeah. And so I'll leave that with you. I don't need to get like philosophical on that, but just make sure you've got like a really nice open attitude, ready to adventure, with your intent set, with a little bit of a vision of what you're wanting to not necessarily achieve, but feel and experience while you're there. So that's very important. Second, when you're in a survival situation, shelter. And so when you're traveling, you want to be considering the environment that you're going to be creating for yourself. Now, if you're like us and you're able to just choose where you're going, like with an Airbnb, you go, okay, look around at the different kind of businesses that you want to be surrounded by, the kind of like natural spots you want to be surrounded by. So naturally, if you're going somewhere and you want to be jumping into like an icy cold water.
I'm either looking for, can I get near a health food store or can I get near some cold water?
Yeah, basically that's it. I mean, for us, we wanted to be in Venice, right? Just because there's it's a spot, that's got like a lot of the health food stores and the cafes and people that we wanted to be connecting with already. It's close to the beach because as soon as I land, as soon as we got off that plane, like I'll tell you a little bit about the food. Like we went straight to the farmers markets, that comes in the food. Then we went to the beach and we got grounded. We were like really spending some time, intentionally discharging that chi that was no longer useful for us and taking up that new chi of the environment that we're in so that we could recalibrate. And so basically, if you're going to be getting an Airbnb, just get a couple of things and like prepare a little bit more to get a kitchen, make sure it's a kitchen that you're going to be wanting to actually, be, cooking in and preparing it. Make sure you've got, where you're going to be able to get supplies nearby. Make sure you've got some spots nearby where you're going to be able to go and get into nature, etc., etc. Very basic, bare bones, but put a little bit more intent into that when you travel. Now, if you're going and if you've been put into like a hotel or something like that.
Because a lot of times people are traveling for work and their business arranges the accommodations for them and it's just this run-of-the-mill hotel. So you can't, you may not have a kitchen. So yeah, what would you do in that situation?
Couple of things. I mean, we were considering bringing our Vitamix blender.
That's what we usually travel with the Vitamix. That's when you're hardcore.
Yeah, we traveled around Australia. I mean, you can do things with our Vitamix. You can take something like your Nutribullet, and I would recommend this. I mean, we're in an area where we can, we're going to be able to go and procure these things. So we are. But I would suggest if you can take a blender with you. If not, something like just have some herbs with you. Something that you can. You've got a kettle. You're going to be able to boil up some water, mix it with some herbs, maybe get some coconut milk or
some different superfood powders, some chia seeds, hemp seeds, maybe some hemp protein or pea protein, some things like this. So in a pinch, if you can't get access at a certain time to the foods you would ideally have, at least you can make like a little superfood smoothie to get yourself through and stretch yourself out for a few hours until you can get for maybe the kind of produce or the kind of good organic food that you're looking for.
Yeah, and it's like a little shaker bottle that you can just like shake up all those superfood powders and herbs and chia seeds, make a chia pudding that's just like really nutrient dense, going to be able to get you by. Taking grounding material, like there's the grounding sheet, grounding pads. If you don't know about them, you're just going to be able to take a little basically, how are you going to explain this? It's a little pad that you're going to be able to put your feet on underneath your desk or put underneath your computer, or a sheet that's going to be lined with a conductive material such as silver, and you're going to be able to then plug that into the wall, and it's going to be able to take those negatively charged ions from the earth. So like
you're electrically connected to the earth. So you're able to pull up the electrons, the negatively charged particles, and discharge the static electricity. So it's helping to balance out a lot of the electrically challenging things for your immune system.
Very good when you're traveling. Maybe takes a lot of the electronic stress off your body. So we travel with those. Setting up a little altar, I find is always good. I always take, like this time, I never actually wear them, but I took like little mala beads that my mum bought for me a couple of years ago. I always travel with them. My gua sha stone. And we've got a little Palo Santo that we travel with us, and just to do a little bit of a cleanse. And I just got that there. I've just got my little energetic center. Even if I'm staying in a hotel, just like, even if it's one thing, that's my little altar where my intent is just set. Where I can have a couple of elements represented. Tani went and got some sunflowers, and when we went to Whole Foods, and just like stuck them in the water bottles that we'd finished, and just put some flowers around. I mean, if you want to basically, when it comes to shelter, after a full day, you want to be able to go and regenerate there.
You can have a little sanctuary that you've created for yourself where you're at.
Yeah. So after that, next important is water. You've got to secure a water source, and so basically you do what you can. I know you went to like Guatemala, like last year, was it? And
in Nicaragua.
Yeah, you were in Nicaragua last year. 2 years ago, I was going to Costa Rica. It's not the easiest thing.
It can be challenging. Even in these pristine environments, sometimes getting good water is still actually a challenge.
And sometimes it is going, unfortunately, very unfortunately, it's going to be water from like a very generic company, and I'm not, so when I go into this next kind of like what I'm able to do here, I'm not saying that this is the standard, and below that standard, you don't hydrate yourself. Always really you've got to consider the prioritization.
Hydrate is priority number one. Don't go without water just because you can't get raw spring water.
Yeah, basically. And so you can travel with things like, Crystal Energy, or even, which is a product, like the sister product of Mega Hydrate, and some sea salt. Add that to your water, no matter what the source is, and make sure you're really swirling that up and shaking that and breaking down the surface tension of that water so that it's going to be more permeable to your cells, and you're going to be able to get that water deeper so you can become more electromagnetic. You want more of a current running through your body. That's what water does. And so that's when you're feeling hydrated, right? So, right. But here, what I was able to do was 2 weeks before I came, you guys have got the epic water delivery services. And so Fountain of Truth was one of them.
They are the most epic, completely untreated, amazing spring water delivery service.
They're completely untreated. No UV treatment at all. So technically, not intended for human consumption.
Right, okay, so here the subtitles here is that it is not intended for human consumption. They deliver it to you as water to be used in gardening. And if you just so happen to drink it, they can't stop you.
They can't stop you, and your cells will bloody celebrate. And it was really great. I went to Air One straight. We went off plane, markets, Air One to get Mount Shasta and Valley.
Mountain Valley spring water.
Mountain Valley spring water. Grabbed a bunch of bottles.
Crystal Rock.
I know Crystal Rock as well. Yeah. I like both of them.
Castle Rock is the name.
Castle Rock is the one from Shasta coming out of that spring that's the beginning of the Sacramento River. Is that right? Yeah, we went and visited there with our friend Sebastian 2 years ago. It was magic. I've got a connection with that spring, and so when I take in that water, my body recognizes it. It's like a fond memory. And so got a couple of those bottles, and so I was just making sure that I hit it straight away. And so I landed, got hydrated, but then the next day I'd ordered 4, big glass jugs of pure spring water from Fountain of Truth. They delivered those. We got on the best water, and that was really amazing. It was so hydrating, and the fact that you guys can get unprocessed spring water from
such a luxury.
Beautiful spring in Oregon. It is a luxury. It's great, and it's nice to see how the entrepreneurialism is like
where
really
there's
evolving.
demand, like the supply pops up.
It really does. And so it's such a beautiful service. So support them if you're on the west coast of the States. And so that's what we did. But put a little bit of research in. Maybe see if there's a spring nearby. Ask the old folks if you're in like a little place. If you're traveling through the towns, ask the people who've been living there for like 50 years. Is there a spring somewhere? Is there somewhere you would drink water growing up? And it might be fun. Even if you just go out there and just connect with a spring and just fill up your little water pack.
It's an amazing experience.
It is a good experience. And so you can go to findspring.com, find out where those water sources are, and get onto that. that next tier in the survival situations, actually fire. I mean, I just reckon, you know, well, yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything to equate that to when you're traveling because it's not as relevant, but I do find, you know, you want that.
Make sure you're either super adaptable or you bring the right clothes.
Basically, yeah. And so, like, especially in terms, just make sure you've got, like, little creature comforts as well. Yeah. I find, you know, like, it is, make sure you feel like you're able to actually bring passion to the way you're living, you know, a couple of spices, get your hot sauce, you know, that kind of stuff. So anyway, when I'm traveling, I always have a hot sauce with me, you know, because it's like such a good stimulant, you know, it's just something with, you know, it's got maybe the garlic and, you know, habaneros and cayenne is one I got at the moment. Yeah. I get it from the cold section, so I know that it's not pasteurized, and then I know that it's enzymatically alive, fermented if possible, just because when I'm traveling, as I was saying, you form little adhesions as you're getting stressed. And so just being able to put that in my lemon water in the morning, you know, or just popping that on my food, I'm ensuring that I've got a herbal stimulant coming into my body and increasing circulation. You know, that's what, and increasing metabolism. That's really important to me. I feel like it keeps me really safe when I'm traveling. So that's one of my little hacks. It's one of the things I just enjoy. And then that next tier is food. And so we got off the plane, I looked at where there was going to be a fresh food farmers markets in the area on that day. On Tuesday, Manhattan Beach was the market, so I went straight there. And so I got cash out and just laid out a whole, I was ready to go.
You're investing in your health.
Oh, exactly. I mean, like, I wanted to make sure, you know, it sucks. This is like, there's that little bit more of preparedness. And so first thing, like, I know that I'm going to be wanting to eat out a lot at my favorite places when I'm here. But those times in between when I don't want to have to go out and I feel like I want to stay home, I want to make sure I'm stocked up on everything that in my life, you know, is a staple, and I want to make sure that it's really high vibing food, so that
fresh.
Yeah, super fresh. And so no matter where you go in the world, you're going to be able to tune into that, I believe. I mean, you know, with some, you know, with some exceptions, of course, but guys,
here in LA, you have a lot more options for healthy eating out. Other places, you're going to have to be a little more self-reliant.
Yeah, exactly. And so just like, you know, if you go somewhere where you're going to be able to, like, you know, meet possibly where, like, the person who's producing the food, that's ideal. And so look, these are some of the things that we're doing to ensure, they're very basics. It's like the bread and butter, you know, right? Like, of us traveling healthily. You know, so when I mention, like, you know, this spring water, I mean, I mentioned hydration. I mean, I know that it was just kind of like, you know, beating at the bush, you know, like repeating it again and again and again, but this is the thing we do to make this travel so smooth for us. You know, we put so much focus on it consistently so that we stay hydrated, and therefore we don't have to get into an area where we're, you know, like where our body's stressed out, becomes susceptible, immune system becomes deficient. You know, like these kinds of things happen when you get extremely dehydrated. And so those basics, you know, get that organic food, make sure that you gotta, you know, go out and party and do your thing as well. Just make sure what you're doing majority of the time is really on point and up to standard.
Absolutely. Okay, well, there you guys have it. That's quite a formula. So to wrap that all up, you want to prepare well, you want to travel well, focusing on hydration and adaptability, and then you want to create a sanctuary in your new home that is a basis for you maintaining your health during your travels. Thanks so much, guys, for joining us. We really hope you enjoyed this video. Do us a favor and share it with your friends who are going to be traveling, or family who are going to be traveling soon, so they can have amazing journeys and adventures as well and feel amazing while they're doing it. Yeah, thanks, guys. You know, make sure you go out and really enjoy those adventures, you know, really drink up the nectar, and, you know, if you've got those basics there going on, whatever this means to you, you know, you can go and party harder, you can go adventure harder, so go and enjoy the world. Thanks so much. Wishing everyone health and happiness, and we'll see you again soon.